Who's that? Okay, yesterday what we have seen, how to get input from, user or runtime input, and then print using a print statement. Output function. So output function means how do you write it? So the output function is example of output function is print function. Okay, so yesterday we have seen we're writing a print statement within double quotes. Whatever you are writing, that there is a way to write, and then you can use some arguments, end end equal to something, and then you can separate if you pass any objects, different objects in a print statement. For example, print within double quotes. If you are using apple, comma banana or whatever, and then separate with separate equal to double quotes or single quote. If you use any dollar or any two dots or something, each object end with 2-3 dots, and then second object will be connected next. It will print on the same line with separate. Each object will be separated by the whatever the parameter we passed for separate argument. Okay, so can you recollect those things? No, right? Okay, print within double quote apple. Then what I'm going to do, I'm writing some other object, banana, banana, then comma, any other fruit, orange, and then I want to use some argument. That argument is a separate this object with some other special symbol or a special word or anything. So what I am doing, using argument separate equal to either single quote or double quote. You can write now how you want to print. So when I run this code, what will happen? So after apple, there will be 3 dots because our argument passes 3 dots. Okay, so let's see that. So we saw that here in the resultant panel, we can see that result. Okay, so in this way, we have seen yesterday. Next, move on to what is that? Okay, so yesterday I told you if you assign any data type as string, means you cannot do multiply or anything. So only one operation you can do that, multiply other operations. For example, you are assigning variable called a, passing that value rows. So in that print statement, if you print rows, sorry, a, so what will happen? The rows will be printed. So any other arithmetic operations you cannot do that, right? So only one thing you can do. If you want to print rows 3 times or 10 times, n number of times, you can do that. Only 4, which means the rows 4 times it will be printed. See, if you do any other operation, any other than multiplication, if you do that, you will get error. So what kind of error? Type error, because whatever we assign variable, we assign as a string type. So we using a string data type, we cannot do arithmetic operation or any calculations except this one, a multiplication. So you cannot say that multiplication, if you want to print 3 times or n number of times, you can do that. Okay, so let me write one simple piece of code and then find out what is the error in that. Okay, wow. So in grade 12 also, in question papers, many times you will be asked find out errors or something. Here what we have done, we have written some code. What is that? Okay, let me write it down here. Okay, we have get assign a variable called it is a string type or whatever, and then we have calculated something, and then we are printing, and then we are printing a type. So find out any mistake here, then recorrect that code. How do you find out? So obviously when you look at the Python code, you know that okay, the print statement, it is a case sensitive, right? All the functions and the keywords, if you assign a variable name starting letter capital, whenever you call that variable, you have to use exact same way. So now, if you see it in the pie chart, you can say, you can easily identify, because it will show you that any error if you do that. So looking at your, on the paper here, you have to be very careful. In a question papers, you don't know, right? So it won't highlight the problem what it is printed on that. So if you look at this, okay, I have to change this one to plus. So if I ask you to find out errors, and then you have to mention that when you calculate double the number, so that name variable is a string type, so you cannot add do any arithmetic operations. So this is the first error. Okay, now we know that Python is a interpreter based. So what interpreter will do, here by looking at this piece of code, you know that this one will throw error, and then this one will throw error. So what will happen? First, interpreter check first line. Okay, name equal to within double quotes red. Okay, fine. This variable declaration syntax is fine. So next, move on to second line. Okay, here we assigned name as a string type, so we are doing some calculation, so it will throw error. Let me see first. See here a double number, it will show that error line, which line it occurred error. So it shows the type error, and because the operand is a string type, you cannot do any other calculation. So why I am saying it, we know that we have one more error in this code. So we after correcting this, then only interpreter moves on to next line. So if you are stuck with before changing this one, you are correcting this print, if you run this program again, it will stuck here only. See, let me run this. So it will throw error in a type error on a line number 4. So interpreter will execute line by line. So once you find the error, you have to correct, as a programmer responsibility to correct it, right? So once the error is clear, then only it moves on to next statement. So here I'm intentionally I changed it to print. Okay, let me change this to okay. Now what will happen? So it moves on to third line, and then it shows name error. Name print is not defined, because the print function, that is a syntax. Every character, each character should be lowercase. Here we assign as a first letter as a capital letter. What will happen? It would think this is the variable or something. Variable means you have to define. So how do you define some variable name? Equal to assign some values, right? So it will check on the left hand side, what is print corresponding left hand side equal to, and then after that. So we haven't mentioned anything, so that is why it's showing name error, and then print is not defined. Okay, so if you correct this, then it will work properly. So we printing double the number. Maybe double the number means you have to do like this. Okay, so it will print a red, and then class equal to 2. Next, move on to some indexing. Okay, let me delete this. Variable a, and then let me change it to hello world. Oh, come on. So print print A, you know that hello world will be printed on the resultant panel. So, when the variable is assigned, sorry, the value is assigned to the particular variable, it will store in the memory location. How it is stored, the first letter H is stored in an index called 0. So the next letter E will store index on 1. So, always a interpreter identify using index only. Okay. So it will goes like that. So starting index is 0, and then next one is, come on. Next E, the letter E will store, index position 1, and then 2, 3, 4. Then space also counted 5, 6, right? So H is 1, E is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So if you specify length of that variable, it will return 12, right? So in memory, I told you index is it will start from 0 up to 11. So I want to print here index. So I want to print a particular index character only. So how do you write that? So using a, okay, let me delete this. Using a square bracket, if you write 2, then what will happen? It will find out that variable, and then it will check A of 2. So what is that? A of 2. Okay, so it will check that variable. Okay, we have something. It will find out that memory location. So which one is corresponding to 2? So here it will fetch 0, and then 1, and then 2. It will print 2. Okay, I don't want to 2 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The fifth index is based corresponding value is O. So let us run here. What happened? Print any syntax error? Yes. What does that? Hello world. The print. Okay, maybe space up. Okay. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth index is blank space. That is why we haven't seen anything in the resultant panel. Let me change it to 4. Okay, so if I run this code, it will print only O. Okay, so this is how we can get a particular character using an index. So how do you define index? This is the syntax, the variable name, and then with a square bracket, and then index number. So okay, you understand this, right? So for example, if I use 8, which character will be printed on the screen? So first character index is 0. So it will move on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we will get letter, anyone? Which character will be displayed on this resultant panel? Anyone? Guys?
L, ma'am.
Which one? L? So, this H is index 1. So, I want to print A, the variable A. So, index pointing, the pointer is 8. So, let's check. 0, X is 0. Then the E is 1. Then 2. This is 3. This is 4. Blank space 5. And then W is 6. O is 7. Letter R is 8. Let's run this. See, I know we will see the letter R because the index R is 8. Okay, you understand this?
Yes,
Let
ma'am.
me. Okay, it will go like this: 0, 1, and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8. It will go. So corresponding value equal to H. So then one corresponding value equal to E. So for example, 2. What is the value for blank space? What is the index for blank space? 5, right? So 1, 0, H is 0, E is 1, then L is 2, and then another L is 3, O is 4. So blank space value index is 5. Okay. Next one we can do slicing. Slicing means this way, simply if you use a within square bracket, if you pass any value, any valid index, it will pick that character and then it will display on the resultant panel. So I want to print from this to, you can give a range from this to that. So how you can define, for example, I want to, print starting from 2 to 8. So what will happen? So it will fetch first index 2. So 2 means here, which letter is 2? So H is 0. Remember, if you are using a index thing, so if first it will count first letter corresponding index is 0. So H is 0 and then E is 1 and then second one L. So up to 8 characters. So it will return LLO and then this is 5. You know that, right? Okay, one more thing I have to mention, when you assign a range from this to that, index, it will exclude the upper limit. Here upper limit is 7, so it will print only 7 up to 7 index. Okay, so we can see that. So you remember that this O is in corresponding index is 4, the blank space index is 5, then it will select W is 6 and then 7. Okay, always you have to remember that, when you read later, you will read range or some other random integer and those kind of things. Always you define upper limits and then lower limit. So mostly if you pick a random number between 1 to 3 or something, it will exclude the upper limit. Here 8 is the upper limit. If I change this to 10, what will happen? If the strength length is 12. So what is the index number 10? Which character? So this is 12, this is 11, this is L is 10, right? So okay, let me write here easily, you will understand. 11 and then 12. 0 means H and then E, L, and then O, blank space, and then W, W, O, R, L, no, L, D, and then yes, apostrophe, and then we don't have 12 because we starting from 0 to 11. If you count total digits, so you will get 12 length, right? So can you remember that when you assign an octal number, you start from 0 and then end with 7, but base is 8. The same way, if you define hexadecimal number, starting letter 0 to F, if you count altogether, it base is 16, right? The same way, the index is starting from 0 and then your length is 12. So previous digit, the index will be there. So okay, now you can easily identify which one is the index number 10. Corresponding value equal to D. Let me run this. World, what happened? Oh, okay, yeah, because upper limit is 10. So always I'm telling you, if you assign a range from minimum to maximum, so it will exclude the upper limit. Here upper limit is 10, so it will drop this value, so then it will print up to here. Okay, so it will print only LLO space and then WORL. So are you fine with indexing? And this is called slicing because you are using a string and then slicing, chopping something from behind or from our starting letter, you chop some, when you are slicing a fruit, what How do you do that? You just cut off something, right? At the same thing here, you're dropping some character either behind or or front, or you can do both ways. So if you want to drop a left hand side and then right hand side, you have to use upper limits and then higher limit. When you use two limits, upper limit and then higher limit, always upper limit value will be excluded. So you understand this part. So I'm going to move on next one. This will little bit confuse you, so don't get confused, because when you use slicing, guys. Yeah, and so far you okay, right? So indexing, slicing. Okay, now I want to print, Python allows you to use a negative index. So this is a positive index, right? So negative index means it will search from the, character string from backwards. So how do you define a negative index? If you define -1, so -1 means it will go from, right hand side. So now it will print first one. What is that? Apostrophe. You will get apostrophe. Okay. So now if you do, -5, so it will select -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. The letter O will be printed here. Okay. So this is the negative indexing. So you okay, right? So let next move on to slicing in a different way. Okay. If you use just colon and then 4, so what will happen, your here don't think about upper limit, lower limit. So what will happen, it is starting from 1, and then it will print 4 digits. See, it will here you don't think about this is upper limit or zero index or whatever. What we are using empty, and the left hand side it is empty, means it will fetch a character from beginning, and then we need only 4 character, so it will print help. Okay, so if you do other way around, what will happen, if you, okay, same thing. If you do left hand side 4 and then right hand side you don't mention any number, so what will happen, it will print from 4th letter and then it display up to last one. Okay, let's move on here. Oval after 4. Okay, so it will fetch this and then it will print up to here. Okay, so there is a difference, you know that, right? So when you assign starting left hand side as blank, means it will start from the first character, and then right hand side how many digits you don't think indexing or any range or anything. Here what it does mean, starting character is beginning, and then I want to print 5 digits. Okay, so if you do that, then it will print hello. So you understand this? So it is not looking for index here. So it will select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I want to print 5 digit of that particular variable. So you okay, right, guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then other way around. Okay, if you assign left hand side some value, then it will print after that, it will print and right hand side if you don't assign anything for. So here it is, if it is a blank, which means after this digit I want entire rest of that string. Okay, so this is the meaning of it. 4 colon, then right hand side is blank, and we are not mentioning any character, any number, so it will print entire string. So stop and then run. Oh well. Okay, so after 4th digit it will fetch and then return this value. So next move on to some small programs. So we know that, right, how to assign values, how to get the input from the user, running time, running time, and then some calculation. What kind of calculation? Adding or multiplying or division. Yesterday we we started calculating body mass index. Okay, so let's do this one first, and then today I am going to explain a bunch of programs, how to assign values or running time input values, and then calculation, and then print a different way. So tomorrow we will go with some real problems, factorial number, and then some other calculation we do. Okay, so now we are going to calculate a BMI. So BMI means, I told you, it is a body mass index. So if the question is raised, calculate, find out a body mass index. So what does that mean? Oh, come on. Which means you have to measure any person's height and weight. Okay, so which means we need two inputs. So two inputs means in the question they haven't mentioned anything. So height is 20 or height is 50 or whatever. Sorry, weight is 50 or height is 1 meter. They haven't mentioned anything. So what you have to do, you have to use the input function. Because maybe if I mention height is 1.6 meter, weight, find a weight and then calculate BMI means you can declare height equal to whatever in the question they have mentioned, you can write it. But here in our question, just calculate BMI, body mass index. So immediately you have to know that. So running time, you have to get two input values. So okay, assign that. So weight equal to always height and weight will be the number, either floating point or integer. I cannot define as a integer because height, I may say that I'm 1 meter, 15 cent or something like that, right? So weight, also I would say that 54.5 kg. So it is a floating number. So imagine, so whenever you are analyzing that problem, so you have to understand what kind of data you are getting. Okay, so now it is a floating. So float of. Oh, so there is a tooltip. When you define some data type, anything, any random or any math calculation, always, Python or some other editor will give you a tooltip. So you can select from here. Okay, so, where I have written spelling wrong. So the tooltip will help you. Okay, if you import some other module, when you start typing that, for example, if you import math module, or I'm giving you an example. So when you type letter M, it will display on the tooltip. Okay, in math module we have plenty of functions. You can invoke that function or you can use it. So that will help you to I understand, or sometimes you make mistakes, so you can use that tooltip. See here, in the tooltip source, float x equal to unicorn, how the syntax will be shown on the tooltip. Okay, so now I am using input of enter. So why always giving a label? It will help you. If you don't give a label here within double quotes, enter, whatever, when you run that program, and though you don't need, you don't know what you have to enter. So make a good practice that always give label name for that when you getting input. Okay, so enter weight, and then colon, that's it. Then height. Okay, height is also float type, FLOT. See, if you if I type F, it will show format, frozen set, function, everything will be displayed as a tooltip. This is called tooltip. I'm not going to use anything. I'm using float of input within bracket, enter your height. Then I'm going to calculate body mass, BMI, index. So BMI equal to, how do you calculate? Weight divided by height into height how do you say that, height to the power of height. You may simply say that height into height. Okay, within bracket, height into height. That's it. Then print. Okay, you can print your height as well, and then you can print your height. You always, when you write a program, write a nice manner. Okay, so height, your weight. Your weight is colon, then comma, when you get the values, so that variable should be entered here. Otherwise this label only displayed on the resultant panel. So I want height, whatever the weight you enter here, it will be displayed in when the print statement is executed. Okay, so next one is print. I know my height, your height, your your height is colon, then comma, height. So silent. You guys are following me, right? Guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then after that, you have you done calculation. You want to print that exactly the way how I define here. I have to write here. Okay. So if I run this query, okay, enter your weight, because we are using here some label. Enter weight. So my weight is 56 kg. Okay, you can do that. After this, within double quotes, kg. Okay. Then height, comma, within double quotes. You don't know how do you write it, right? So maybe you may say that 1.5, so which means meter. So if you are, sometimes you may say that in a centimeter. So in roughly I am saying that centimeter or meter. Okay, let me run this again. My height is, weight is 56, and then height is 1.45. So it will be calculated, and then it will be displayed. Your height is 56 kg, and then your weight is 1.5 meter, and then BMI is something. Okay, so this is the way you have to write a program. This one is fine, right? This is a very simple how to actually get a data in a runtime, and then some calculation, some arithmetic calculation, simple calculation, and then you are printing the result. Okay, so if you don't give this one, when you write a program, you're writing a program, so I am running that program. So when you run that program, so I may say that your weight is 56, either LB or or kg, I don't know that, right? So whenever you write a program, so make a practice, write a nice manner. Okay, guys. So when this program written by Sujata. So suppose imagine this is 100 lines of code. So in my team, when you go for a work environment, you are not a single programmer. Always you work with team members. So one module, programmer one, he will develop one module, and then some other programmer three will develop another module. They will combine together. They will combine the source code. So what will happen? The programmer two will evaluate that module one and then module two. When they started running it, they have to understand a clear way, right? So whenever this is a simple program, so in exam time, so they will assign. Okay, if they are in a question paper, the question is like a calculate BMI. That's it. So if you simply, you can write weight equal to something, input of something, a height equal to input of something, and then BMI. Easily you can write it. BMI equal to weight divided by height into height. That is fine. And then print BMI. So what they will they will evaluate. Okay, this program is correct. but what they will check line by line. Okay, how you know assign a value. Let me show you one question paper, you will understand. Okay, class CBSE class 11 Python question paper. Python. Or any question paper I'll show you. Okay. See, big programs. Oh, this one is simply queries and other things. So what they will do, assigning 1 mark. So this is imagine this is the 4-mark question. I will tomorrow I will take it and then I will tell you. Okay, if you are there, if you are asking to write a program, finding quadratic equation or factorial number, they will assign for input statement 1 mark, and then calculation 1 mark, and then printing statement 1 mark. That's how they will calculate. Maybe if you write this way, they will evaluate this one, but definitely they will reduce a mark. Okay, so as a grade 11 and 12 student, you have to write that way. Tomorrow definitely I'll show you. So each line, how you assign, how you calculating, how you print the result, everything will be counted. So if you simply define variable calculation, teacher like me, sometimes I may give full marks, sometimes I won't. Some teachers, whoever correcting in your paper, definitely they will reduce mark. Okay, so let's move on to second one. So write a program, obtain 3 numbers and print their sum. So okay, let me copy that question. Okay, what is our question? Write a program, obtain 3 numbers and print their sum. So nothing but same as before. So they haven't assigned any values. Okay, so you have to enter a number, right? You have to get a values. Get a value means in a runtime. So in a runtime, you can use n1 equal to integer of, it is a number. So you may use either integer or floating number. They haven't specifically mentioned that, okay, use a floating number or integer number. You can use it. This is your choice now. Okay, input. Simply I'll write it now, and whenever you write, you have to explicitly define what kind of data it is. Okay, so input of input. Guys, you okay, right? And then
Yes, ma'am.
n2 equal to input of something, and then indentation. N3 equal to input of, that's it. And then why it is showing me error? Okay, we haven't finished here properly. Okay, so then sum equal to n1 plus n2 plus n3, and then print within double quotes sum colon, and then comma sum. That's it. Okay, so if you run, and then what happens? Oh, it is waiting. Sometimes cache memory, it will because we haven't entered any label here. So when I started running, so the resultant panel in the console panel looks empty. So I just now I got confused. Oh, what happened? What is what I have to do? I got confused, right? So that is why it is a good practice to write a label. So 34 and then 67. So after that, it is calculated and then print the result. Okay. So now my question, this one is fine, right? So you obtain three numbers and the print their sum. So what it does mean, it get three numbers and then calculate sum. Sum means you are adding and adding something. So here we have three numbers, we added 3, 1, and then print that result. So next move on to next sum. Guys, okay, you know how to write a kilometer to convert into miles, right? So this one, you know that? Anyone? Why you all are silent? I don't know. I'm not understanding. Shweta Lakshmi, you okay? Vyabinya, Shweta, Dhanisha, Balaji. You see, everyone left. Okay, I think it's time's up. We will resume tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.